Okay, so we're going on to the next video here for the day. I'm going to start converting over what I just did there with Mari's side dish, I guess you could say. And I haven't been listening to the province of British Columbia, Canada on their YouTube channel for a long time. Okay? So, I don't know what they've got there, but anyway, you can see what's going on here, right? Ongoing opiate litigation announcement. Now, that's not what I clicked into. I thought it was this one. I thought it was this one here. But I noticed there's another one here. So for whatever reason, I didn't see that, but I did. Now I do now. Right? So where am I? Oh my Lord. There we go. I didn't see that, but now I understand why he's talking about this, people. I find this to be quite interesting. Okay, we're going to talk about it in a minute.
These steps. Without the actions we've taken, we would be grouped with other Canadian claims in the United States bankruptcy proceedings related to Purdue Pharma. The unsecured creditor group is limited to $15 million in recovery as a whole, and some Canadian claims are in fact grouped in that unsecured creditor grouping currently.
Just listening for a second.
We would have been facing the liquidation of Purdue Canada's Canadian operations to pay for U.S. claims. But we are not in that situation. Today, thanks to BC's leadership, on behalf of all Canadian provinces, territories, and the federal government, I can announce that we reached a $150 million settlement with Purdue Pharma Canada. This is the largest settlement of a governmental healthcare cost claim in Canadian history. The Purdue settlement will pave the way for future settlements in the ongoing litigation against other manufacturers and distributors of opioid products, as well as their consultants.
Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, so here's that organic cornmeal. This is one box, 25 pounds, you can see. Right? Okay? Right? So now I'm going to put this on myself here for a minute because, like, what can I see? Nothing. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anyway, this, can I get a pair of scissors, please, Andre? This, what we just heard here, I don't know. I just started listening to it. I thought they were going to talk about people from Ukraine coming over here and getting temporary subsidy. I don't know how it's going to be temporary because it won't be. Okay? Because when the Syrians come, the Afghanistans and whoever else that fall under that program, whatever program they come in under, I mean, they can't work for a year. We already discovered that with the Syrians who moved in next door. Right? I mean, they're subsidized from 3 different levels: federal, provincial, okay, and municipal, because it was a municipal worker who got the house for them. That's somehow probably connected to a municipal program to, as the immigrants are coming in through these programs, the city is hired staff to find locations for them to live. Okay. Why wouldn't the Ukrainians be treated the same way? They're refugees. They're coming from a war-torn country, even though they're moving into the new Congo. Okay? They just haven't woken up to that fact yet. Right? Obviously, some of them are going to become criminals. That's pretty plain to see if you know what's going on around you. It's just a matter of time if they don't plunge into it right away. But besides that point, so now I'm finding out that the government is in the middle of its own lawsuit, class action or not, it doesn't matter. It sounds like it's trying to get money from a manufacturing pharmaceutical company for manufacturing opiates that have created addiction in more than your average number of people. when it comes to drugs, I guess you could say. And then I guess they're going to, if they win, or they're going to win, they probably will, because they're the government, right? As long as they get what they want, to hell with everybody else, in terms of people like me. But besides that point, what? Their spiel is they're going to take that money and they're going to put it back into programs to help all the addicts in the community. Even though a lot of these addicts are addicted to freaking methamphetamines and heroin and that kind of crap. And Shimei was hot-capped with medical fentanyl. And then, more than likely, hit on the head from behind. And then injected with cocaine and morphine to cover the fact that she had been poisoned for 3 days with medical fentanyl, for the end result of having her organs illegally harvested and then sold on the black market among her teeth and whatever else they did with her body, people. So if the government can sue the pharmaceutical industry for addicts that got hooked up on to methamphetamine when they were young kids like Sierra, that's being run through the community through organized crime, organized religion, and in partnership in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, with the public union sector worker employees, so that they can stimulate that underground economy, how it branches off from that, and then at some point they brought in the fentanyl to clean up the mess that they made with the initial drugs that got everyone addicted at an early age, in terms of all those tweakers. I don't know, people, like, the government is still responsible for managing their own employees. Okay? If the employees were doing their jobs better and not illegally participating in, and not participating in illegal organ harvesting and other body parts, and actually charging people with murder when murder occurs, instead of blaming the victims by victimizing them twice, saying they did it to themselves for whatever reason, when they know themselves that people are being murdered with it, because they know that there's an underground economy going on in there. Because they know people. Maybe they all don't know in terms of those MLAs, but some of them do. Okay? Because this has been a progression. This is not just something that popped up out of nowhere in the middle of the night. This has been going on for years. Okay? I don't see why I should have to struggle so hard with my lawsuit. Okay? I don't. Right? On multiple fronts. In terms of where there's a wrong, the judge needs to make a right, make sure the kids are safe, have a future, won't be targeted, can live in peace and not worry about becoming homeless because of the corruption in the housing market with that organized religion in partnership with the rich boo-boo bears that come in off the airplane to buy up even more property to overinflate as they continue to target vulnerable families, bring in dysfunction, bring in mayhem, bring in infighting, don't fix things, right? Force people out of their houses only so that they move to another house and pay twice as much, if not 3 times as much, for the same kind of environment, to be treated even worse as they bring in more immigrants, talking about how it's only going to be temporary subsidies when in fact we know it's not. And if that's the case, what do they do with those people that come? They put them into contract positions within our healthcare system, whether it's within old folks' homes, whether it's in temporary care facilities, whether it's in with the hospitals or wherever, and they don't monitor them. And they many of them, like I said, they're coming in on contract. They're not even officially 100% bona fide government employees with full benefits. Because they're immigrants that can barely speak English, but are willing to do anything that they're told to do as long as they can stay in this country. So if somebody comes along and buys them off with a bribe, well, the more the merrier, right? They'll bring in their friends to participate in that activity so that they can figure out how they're going to buy the house that they're pulling out the rug out from underneath the elderly people that they're basically medically kidnapping and telling that they can't go home. Okay? Uncle John was just the tip of the iceberg, people. But when it comes to this, with the opiate stuff, if it's, what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. Oh, it's okay for the government to sue, but it's not okay for me? Yeah, okay. I haven't listened to it all. I didn't even know that was going to be talking about that until I'm waiting to hear about the Ukrainians, and I'm like, lawsuit? Because I haven't been listening to that channel because it's depressing. I'm trying to be at arm's length with the whole situation when it comes to the province of British Columbia, Canada YouTube channel. Right? But that warrants a comment, okay? That seriously warrants a comment. And I'm going to come back on it after I listen to it again. And I might even do a freaking, I'll sit there and start fresh and just go through the whole video and talk about it, okay? In the meantime, I just wanted to mention it because I'm trying to stay focused here, right? In terms of doing what I got to do. What? Did you write them all down? I can't hear you. Yes. Did you read them in your head?
Yes.
Well, you did that fast. Now don't lose that paper because you're going to work on it later and you might even read it later faster. Very nice.
My printing
is getting better. Nice. You're really making an effort. This. If I had stars, I'd give you stars. Now keep this because you can read this later on tonight real fast.
Okay, can I go get you now?
No. You're supposed to work on the other list.
What other one?
The one with the bigger words. The new words.
Right.
So, what, do you want to do that one later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Jake goes home at 7.
Okay. Plus, I want you to read them to me, and I am kind of busy.
Yeah.
All right.
You might be busy for a while.
Huh?
Might be busy for a while.
Well, yeah, Nana wants to clear out this kitchen because I want to start making homemade bread and stuff like that. And some of this cornmeal, right? So anyway, like I just, I don't know if it's perfect timing. Not that it would make much of a difference, right? But I don't blame per se the pharmaceutical industry for what happened to Schmate, even though it was medical fentanyl that did that, because it was somebody else that came into contact with that medical fentanyl and used it as a murder weapon. Okay? And the people who investigate murder don't care. That's the point. Because there's bigger money in trafficking body parts. That's the issue. So it wouldn't matter if it would have been street fentanyl manufactured in some freaking house up in the boonies out here somewhere, or if it came from some pharmaceutical industry that manufactured it. It just wouldn't matter. Because it was an individual that used it, well, more than one really, in my opinion, that used it as a murder weapon to kill Schmate. And then the cops, the paramedics, and Fraser Health Authority staff took it one step further and harvested her organs. Haven't quite figured out how everybody benefits from that for the number of people that are involved in that process, because there's quite a few, really. But it's happening. So the government can sue this pharmaceutical industry all at once. It's not preventing murder, that's for sure. They're not providing any kind of sense of safety to the public. Lots of people are getting hot capped out here by different means. Right? Like purposely poisoned so that they will die. That's what hot capping means. That's like me coming and putting arsenic in somebody's food and then standing back and watching them die because I poisoned their food with arsenic. It doesn't matter if it's arsenic or if it's freaking fentanyl. In Shimei's case, it was medical fentanyl somehow laced into her smokes. And I know that. I know that, people, because I was here with her for those 3 days. Her last Snapchat, she was smoking the smoke. When I was called downstairs, her smokes disappeared. That's because Julian ran off with the package. Because he didn't want anybody else smoking those smokes and getting all dizzy and maybe passing out for a little while. Yeah. That's why we never did find Shmei's cigarettes, even though she was smoking one right before she was bonked on the head with that big-ass bruise. To which the healthcare staff said she didn't have, but I can prove that she did. Not to mention I can prove other things too. So, just wanted to say, if the government really wants to do something, they need to start locking people up for murder. And they need to curb trafficking, the illegal trafficking of human body parts for profit. Because if they don't do either or, it will never stop. And I can tell you right now, with these immigrants coming in and the numbers that they're coming in, many of them will just fall in line and be the next generation of organized religion that commit crimes. Because for whatever reason, they seem to think that they're better than everybody else, even though they're sitting on the government tip. Okay? I'm just saying. Or they come in with so much money that they think that they're better than everybody else, that they're still not satisfied and have to double the money while they're here by any means necessary and at any cost, so that they can boast among their peers. That's what it is, people. That's what it is, people. As families like mine are on the cusp of homelessness, or just having everything fall apart around us and we lose. Not that we haven't lost a lot already, but we're at the point where we're going to lose everything. Okay? Just saying. So anyway, I'm going to get now onto this, because I still have to do this meat. So all I'm doing is, well, this will probably be enough for one box anyway. Right? I'm just filling them up. Maybe a box and a half. I don't know. I'm filling up all these jars, though, with organic, what is it called? Cornmeal. Okay? You see? I have 12 jars. 1.9 liters. So I have 2 boxes at 50 pounds between the 2 boxes. And this might fill up 1 box. I might be able to get all 2 boxes in all this, so hold on. Okay, I am trying not to get mad here, people. Okay, I'm listening. Okay, I said I'm going to come back and do this later, right? But, you know, like, I'm listening, right? And I'm like, how dare they say this? How dare? Listen.
Further settlements to recover provincial healthcare costs.
That's what they're doing it for, okay?
This is one step among many that our government is taking to ensure that we are addressing the overdose crisis on every front.
No, I call bogus. That's bogus. They're not doing everything on every front. Okay? No, they're not. They're using Uncle John as a means to throw out of court what happened to Shimei. That's directly related to fentanyl. And in her case, medical fentanyl. Okay? That was used as a murder weapon. And the cops covered it up. And so did the health authority with their staff. Okay? Now, I don't know what the government is going to try and do outside of try and throw it out of court. But whatever this guy's got to say right now is just words in the wind. Because if that was the case, people would be going to jail. Instead of these guys suing big companies and blaming the companies for the Julians and the you-know-whos that use fentanyl, whether it's street fentanyl or medical fentanyl, to murder people. Okay? Like, seriously, man. Okay, I'm trying so hard not to be mad here. You don't know. I'm going to attempt to use these again. I don't think this pack's been opened. But whatever, I'm going to try and use it. Last time I tried to use it, it didn't work. So this time I'm leaving a little bit more headspace in here. I don't like vacuum sealing powdery stuff like this because it doesn't really work. So in a situation like this is, I don't know, fairly big. So I have to work fast, right? It's not, maybe these are too big. Maybe that's why it didn't work for me. I don't know. I don't even know why I turned on this camera. Because I'm fuming. That's why. It's not fair. Government expects justice, but they don't want to give out justice. And then stretch the truth. Tell white lies. Okay. Right? That's the way I see it. They're not doing everything in their power. Heck no. Far from it. Hold on. Okay, so obviously I'm steaming, right? You see, the thing is, people, the reason that they gave her morphine when she went to the hospital when she was in labor and they sent her home twice, people, with morphine, it was so that they could put it in their medical files that she was using morphine. So that after the fact, everything said and done, they could point fingers and accuse her of being a drug addict. When in fact, they're the ones who gave her the morphine. The only thing is she didn't take it. Okay? And why would you give a pregnant woman that's going into labor morphine and send her home without really, and not once but twice, over a 5-day period? Okay? Just like with going to the doctor's office. Doctors ask, well, how you feeling? Well, I haven't been sleeping. Well, gee, why? Well, here, take some sleeping pills, but I'm pregnant. Oh, that's okay. It's okay if you're pregnant. Just don't take too many. If you really need them, you can take them. She came home to me and she said, Mom, the doctor gave me sleeping pills. I said, Shemaine, but you're pregnant, right? She goes, yeah, but he said it's okay if I take it once in a while. I said, well, try not to take it, Shemaine. And she said, okay, Mom, I won't. As far as I know, she didn't. The point is they need to write it down in there, people, so that when things happen like they did to Amari over that 5-day period when she was sent away, and then they dragged it out to the bitter end, right? They knew he pooped, people. I read his medical files. He pooped before they took him out of her through an emergency C-section. That's how stressed out he was with his heart. It dropped and it never came back up. How long did it take before they could book in that emergency C-section from the time that it dropped? Obviously, quite a while. We know how seriously injured Amari is. But they're never going to look at that, though, because all they have to say, oh, well, no, she was taking sleeping pills. She had problems when she was pregnant. No, she didn't have problems when she was pregnant. Not the kind of problems they're trying to say she had. Right? I don't know, people. More reason to have her murdered because she's not here to testify on her behalf. Now, is she? It's their word against my word. They're the professionals. But it's just all in the wording and how they worded it within her medical files that is clearly misleading. And there's one particular sentence that would be, if it's put in there in Amari's files inappropriately, where I was looking, and I know exactly where to. Well, I don't know exactly where to find them in Shemaine's medical files. I kind of know where to find them in Shemaine's medical files. If it's word for word, then that means that they took something from 2017, a test result, because he was born in 2017, right? And copied and pasted that same test result into a different test result that was related to that MRI in 2018. If it's word for word, then it's as blatant to see, people. I just haven't had time to cross-reference it yet. This is what I mean. Not to mention all their other little insinuendos in there. You got a problem with her with sleeping pills? Why not take it up with the doctor? But you see, I can't get those medical clinic files now, can I? Well, no, I can't now, can I? I wonder why, people. And just because he prescribed something doesn't mean she took them. It's the point, though, that she was prescribed them, people. And for some reason, for the ones that commit these crimes in these hospital settings, public health care settings, they think they can snag onto this and do complete character defamation of, like a complete defamation of character on innocent victims. As our government now in British Columbia, Canada, among other governments across Canada, are suing Big Pharma for all the addicts in the community, when a lot of those addicts started off with methamphetamine, and then they went into heroin, and then they went into freaking methadone. They were freaking addicts long before fentanyl ever showed up. How about that one? Because the government is trying to say, oh, it's the pharmaceutical industry that created all the freaking addicts. Well, maybe to some degree, but not out here, people. It hit the streets, methamphetamine, in 2003. And it specifically targeted 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-olds, and 15-year-olds, and 16-year-olds. That's what it did. Through your organized religion, with your organized crime that used public workers to facilitate even more heinous crimes like illegal organ harvesting. this is not what I wanted to think about today. Anyway. Okay. These aren't going down. I don't even know. I don't like oxygen absorbers. We'll see what happens with them. Okay. Now I'm going to put some labels on them. I like labels. Organic cornmeal. The month that I packed it up, which is what, June 2022. I still have a half a box left, but I'm not worrying about that right now. And then as soon as I get those in the boxes, after I put labels on them and just wipe down the jars a little bit, I'm going to get on with the meat. And then after that, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've got 4 more gallons. I got 4 gallons, 1 gallon jars, 4 over here. I don't know if I'll wash them tonight, but I'll wash them between tonight and tomorrow. And as soon as they're done, I'll probably put 1 jar with the rest of the cornmeal, or maybe I'll do something else, I don't know. Or maybe I'll use all 4 jars for the box of wheat that I have up here. I don't know what kind of wheat it is. It's some kind of wheat berry of some kind. Could be rye, for all I know. I don't know. And then, anyway, hold on. Okay, I'm crashing here, people. I am listening to this. Now, this is David Eby. He is the Attorney General. It is his office that is in dispute with me right now and trying to get it thrown out of court in regards to what's happened to my family, and they're using Uncle John as an excuse to which nobody has taken the time to investigate. Right? Because of whatever reason. I wanted to say they want to keep the status quo. Okay. Now, the thing about David Eby is he goes back a long, long way. He's up in the East Hastings area in terms of his riding, if I remember correctly. And he was an advocate for a lawyer. I'm sorry. He was he is a lawyer from my memory. I'm going on my memory here, okay? For a non-profit that worked with the disenfranchised people up in the East Hastings area, where is one of the poorest neighborhoods in all of Canada, right? And back in the day when he was younger, you know, he was a pretty honorable man, people. Like, he fought hard for poor people. He really did. And, you know, I tried to see if I could get that organization to help me with Uncle John, but of course they service the East Hastings area, and their litigations had more to do with housing and that kind of stuff, right? Not so much with anyway, they couldn't help me. 1, because I wasn't native, and 2, I didn't live in that particular riding. So I never got no help. Okay? Anyway, he ended up becoming an MLA who became a minister to the Attorney General's office. So, as I'm listening to what's going on now, it turns out the premier of this province gave notice to step down. So they're going to have an election within the party, the New Democratic Party, for a new premier, and I guess David Eby has been nominated, among other people, to become premier of this province, as he's an acting attorney general. Okay? Now, none of that benefits me, because nobody wants to help me. Like I said, his office, when he was just a straight-up lawyer back in the day, they didn't want to help. They couldn't help. They said they couldn't. So they didn't. Right? now we're here in the now. And whatever they're doing with these pharmaceutical companies, sure, they can make themselves think that they're doing something, but they're not really, people. They're just finding a means to pay for more of their programs when it comes to, I don't want to say enabling addicts, but basically as they continue to ignore the more serious issues like murder by fentanyl and illegal organ harvesting. And continue to ignore it so much so that I'll end up losing everything. I'll lose my house, because he's also Minister for Housing. Isn't that interesting? The problem with that, though, is when you get out in the real world and you talk to the landlords to bungalows such as this, they seem to think that it's the government's responsibility to house us, in terms of they need to build all this subsidized housing in order to house poorer people so that the landlords don't have to be held to account to rent gouging and exploiting immigrants with those federal, provincial, and municipal subsidies. Yeah. So because of that caste system that traffics human beings through organized religion in partnership with corrupt governments, families such as mine will continue to fall through the cracks, where we end up losing everything as the government talks from the other side of its mouth, talking about how it's trying to protect the community because it's going after big pharma for $150 million to put cash infusions into programs to keep addicts safe. That's hogwash. You want to keep addicts safe? Well, how about just people? You want to keep people safe? Start locking up the freaking drug pushers, the drug manufacturers that are selling it out on the street and are using it as a means to murder people, to traffic body parts. How about locking up those crooked cops and crooked paramedics and those crooked hospital workers? Or is it going to be, well, she did it to herself. Miss Chorney did it to herself. It was just a matter of time before the train wreck came to a crashing halt. And we're not surprised that she ended up homeless out on the streets. Because she did it to herself. Yeah. That's the only thing I got to look forward to at this point in life. The addicts will be treated better than my family, that's for sure. Until their numbers are called up and they're lured off to their deaths like Sierra. Or just straight up hot capped. Not that Shimei was an addict, because she wasn't. The healthcare staff, whether within the clinic or in the hospital, they want her to look like an addict. But they didn't want her testifying what they did to Amari. Plus, you know, they didn't want her testifying about what happened to Uncle John either. I wonder if David Eby is up for that challenge. I really wonder. Because if he's not, nothing will change, and there won't be no justice. Nope. And it just seems kind of weird that they're suing a pharmaceutical company that does absolutely nothing to solve my problem with what happened to my family and Shimei, or Sierra for that matter. Sierra became an addict because of methamphetamine being brought into the province in 2003, and it flooded the communities from east, west, north, south, all within a year, where you had thousands of little kids running around addicted to methamphetamine, tweaking out. That was in 2003. There was no such thing as fentanyl. But the residue effect of that remains with the addicts that we have today. As more young people are being exposed to these drugs to keep the cycle going so that they can continue to keep that body trafficking system going as well. As they call me, frivolous and a waste of the court's time. And trying to bury dirt. And then speak from the side of their mouth how they're trying to protect the community. Yeah, that's basically it. So I'm really depressed now. Not that I wasn't moody before I started, but I'm 10 times moodier. Right? Okay, are these sealing? No. They don't seem to be doing anything. Anyway, so now I take these off, wipe everything down, and I'm going to get into the meat. It's so expensive. I don't want to waste it.
What are you going to do with the meat?
Well, I am going to vacuum seal what we're not going to eat, and then because I'm clearing off the counter here a little bit, I thought we could try and grill some chicken and grill some beef with some barbecue sauce.
Did I?
I don't know, Andre. I get tired. Nana's been tired all day.
Maybe
But
I
yeah,
could try
hopefully.
Maybe I could try making a pizza.
No.
Oh.
No, but yeah, more than likely we'll just start grilling it ASAP after I'm done vacuum sealing it and getting in the freezer.
Yeah, we'll just make like a little dinner.
Yeah,
Like a little dinner for tonight.
yeah. And then I'm going to call it a night because I'm exhausted. And I've got brain fog with this new information that means absolutely nothing. Nothing, people. It means nothing. It's that poverty pimping cycle. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to change until people start going to jail for this shit. People have to go to jail for fraud, for breach of trust, for using public facilities, public employees, public tax dollars to commit heinous crimes. Whatever that crime may be, because there's more than one crime. And locking people up and charging them with murder when it comes to murder by fentanyl. If they want to sue the pharmaceutical industry, so fine. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a pharmaceutical industry that killed Shimei, and it sure in a heck didn't kill Sierra. Okay, and I'm living testament to that. So whatever they're doing isn't benefiting my family, doesn't bring no justice, doesn't bring no resolution, doesn't bring no restitution, doesn't bring a right into a wrong. It doesn't do nothing. Nothing. It's just this. And it's almost like it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, how convenient that the government can just simply sue a big pharmaceutical industry and expect to get paid for something that's a lot more complicated than that, right? It's like that pharmaceutical industry was set up just for that purpose. But I don't know. This is going on in the States too. So I don't know. States, I don't know, is different. More people got addicted from opiates because of the medication. But not out here, people. No. It was meth. It was meth. They flooded the communities with meth. And then they brought in the heroin to calm down the tweakers. And now what we have is we have the basic core addicts that have been addicts for the last 20, 30 years since they've been kids. And some of them still prefer to do meth, and that's all they basically do. But every hit that they take, there's a potential of it being laced with fentanyl. Same thing with the ones that like to smoke crack, right? You're not going to get the meth addicts in a house with a bunch of crack addicts. They tend to separate themselves and go into their own houses. Same thing with the heroin addicts. It's a Russian roulette with all these drugs now, right? Because everything is being laced with fentanyl because of the illegal organ harvesting that's going on. And if they can't get you that way, they straight up freaking poison you and murder you with it, like they did with Shimei. And it's being done through organized crime and organized religion in partnership with established unions that have access to the facilities because they don't take organs out in butcher shops. They take them out in hospitals. And they use corrupt doctors, nurses, and other staff to do it. I can't see. You should be using line paper.
I couldn't find any on my
Okay, well that's a start. So what you can do is draw a line here, put your date down there, and then tomorrow you can continue doing it. Okay? Are you reading them as you're writing them? Okay.
I was reading them in my head.
That's
Okay.
that's right. And then tonight you can read them out loud to me. And if you do that for the next week or two, chances are you're going to be able to read those words pretty freaking fast. And then we can get on to a new set of words. Like I said, Andre struggles with academics. So we're trying to build up his word power. And today he's had a really good attitude. So I do, well, it didn't start off good, right? But it's good now, so I do appreciate the good attitude, Andre.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I am just going to end this video now. I'm not going to worry about the meat. Okay? Maybe I'll do the meat when I do my commentary on, because I want to go back. I want to go back and start from the beginning and listen to this Mr. Eby and make comment on it from my perspective, because that's the line that I'm towing, and I don't appreciate them trying to use Uncle John as a pawn to skirt away from the really serious issues that thousands and thousands and thousands of people face in this province, because in essence nobody is safe. Heck, for what goes on in my yard, people, I could come into contact with fentanyl without realizing that it's been planted there. And then suddenly die. And then what? The cops are going to show up and accuse me of doing it to myself because I was depressed, because I was facing homelessness, because my government wasn't listening to me. What? Because I'm overworked? Because I lost kids? Because I lost, what? Or was it just an accident? Which one was it? Because it could be that simple. There's different grades of it, people. People use it for different reasons at different times. And people are using it as a murder weapon. And the sooner the government wakes up to that fact, the better off that they can go on with their speech in terms of, we're here to make things better and protect the public. Because as it is right now, they're just feeding the beast. They're just continuing on with the poverty pimping, allowing the addicts to continue being addicts without really providing them with any freaking services. Sierra is testament to that. Okay? All right? I'd like the government to pull up her files to show me what kind of services she got. And they're going to find out there was none. Oh, what? They offered it when we were going to court? Yeah, they offered it, but they never followed through on it, people. And even when I tried to take her in and get her into a different program, they still ended up turning her away, even though we tried on 3 different occasions to meet their expectations. And at the end, they just told her to go away. But she didn't qualify, even though it was a public program, because that's not where they wanted her. We know exactly where they wanted her, and they kept her there. And then she was lured to her death, and they capitalized off of that. Okay? With that cell phone, with that body do guy walking down the stairs as the cop is saying, "Did you get the stuff? Did you get the stuff?" Or was it, "Did you get the cell? Are you coming back? Did you get the stuff?" What stuff was a body dude guy supposed to get other than a freaking body? And why would you bring in a 6'7" cop to protect somebody that you were investigating when in fact you were keeping the family out to protect the one that lured my daughter to her death? It's not just Shimei, people. Okay? And it's not just Uncle John. It's not just Amari. It's not just Andre. It's not just about Sierra. It's about everybody. But if Uncle John would have been treated fairly, we might have recovered, people. We might have recovered after they did what they did to Andre, and everybody would be whole, and we'd all be together alive instead of half dead already. Like I said, it's my duty. It's my duty to call out the rhetoric. Okay, I'm going to put this first, and then whatever else when I was doing the cornmeal. I haven't converted this video over yet from Amari's me time. And I'm ready to get on with this meat very soon. Hopefully. But in the meantime, people, this is the shit that I have to go through. And it springs out of freaking nowhere. Okay. I don't want to drag this out, but like, if there was ever a time when I just don't want to be alive anymore, it's in times like this, where I'm just fed up. I'm just fed up with the nonsense. Okay, just fed up. In regards, it would be just easier if I was dead. And then these people that want to trash my life, and there's a lot of them, okay, for whatever reason, they can have their way and do what they want, and I'm not there to fucking say not even two words, okay? And they can trash the next person that they fucking want to bully. Now, of course, I'm talking about my kids, mainly my son, Marcane, at this point. Because, okay, got himself a girlfriend. He was talking about moving out because she wants to move in with him. Because her parents are selling their house and moving out into the country, and she doesn't want to move to the country. So she's pressured my son to go move out with her into their own suite. But before he'd do that, he's approached me and told me that he wants to live with his girlfriend, and that, you know, this is what he wants for me to do, and this is how much he's going to pay if I do it, so that he'll continue to live here and I won't have to have a stranger move in. But now I've got another person moving in, using more hydro, more hot water, whatever it may be. Okay. So there was that kerfuffle back in the day over all that, right? You know, blah, blah, blah. It's not like I can communicate with my son very well. Sometimes I can, and other times I just can't. Because he thinks he lords over me. He thinks he's the parent, and I'm two. Well, maybe not two, but definitely a child. He thinks I owe him something because I'm a parent, but he won't admit that. He thinks I should build him a castle because I'm the parent and that's my job, but, you know, he won't admit that's deep down inside that's what he thinks, because that's what the way my oldest son thought. He thought that he was the king and that I was the servant, and that whatever I did in life was solely centered around him and his needs. Well, my younger son is somewhat similar, but not quite as bad. But when he gets bad, he gets bad. We're at that bad stage right now, where it's me, 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 me. Okay. Anyway, then the landlord was going to sell the house. The landlady decided the landlords, they would decide they wanted to sell their house. Right? And she asked me to move, and her son had a spaz on me and threatened to have bins come in and start throwing my shit out, okay? That was before she came later and said she was going to try and sell her house. First, they just tried to scare me out, right? So much so that something happened to my eyes, and I haven't been able to see straight since then, people, okay? Honestly. Last time this year, my eyes were fine. And this has been going on for a few months now, okay? I'm still waiting for the referral. Anyway. I didn't hear nothing from the court until, May 24th, May 26th or something like that. And it sprung out of nowhere. Because my son was saying, when all this kerfuffle was going on with, maybe becoming homeless, not being able to find affordable housing, with the threat of your shit going into a fucking bins. Sorry, boo-boo bins. I asked my son if it got real bad, would you move into another house with me? And I'm like, well, it's either yes or no. We'll cross, in terms of the cost, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because, right? Not that I have any means to get there. Never mind pay damage deposit. Never mind move everything there. And then pay 3 times as much for the same shit that I already have. Well, the thing is, I won't have the greenhouses. I won't have the sheds. I won't have the gardens. I won't have anything. What I'll have is a big weedy yard with a bunch of mud, morning glory going through it, and raccoon shit. That's what I'll probably end up renting for $4,000 a month. Not that I could do it. So there you go. The house is imploding, people. This is what I'm trying to say. And my son is just imploding it even faster. Okay, because of the bad attitude. And I'm fucking choked. So anyway, he said, okay, right? And then, this girlfriend situation was, wasn't really, I don't know, just kind of went off to the wayside, right? And about 4 weeks ago, I said to him, I'm sorry I can't come down here and work because, I got sprung with what the court did, people. If I wouldn't have put the time in to deal with the paperwork, we wouldn't even have a 4-hour conference. I don't even consider it to be court. Okay? To me, it doesn't feel like court. To me, it feels more like a case conference of some kind. Although we know they're going to try and throw it out, even though they're speaking with forked tongue. Which you will see in this video with me talking about what they're talking about now on their YouTube channel. Which only wants me to work harder on what I'm working on when it comes to fighting for justice for my family in general. And 2 or 3 or 4 days ago, I don't know what, it was on court when I went to court. He knew what I was doing. It's not like he didn't fucking know. I told him, right? It's going to have to hold off until I deal with this court because they're trying to throw it out on the 9th of June. And if I wouldn't have done what I've done, people, they would have thrown it out. And I'd be right back to square one. Okay? But I did what I had to do. And I still got the foot in the door. I go to the court. I do whatever. I come home. I feel like pretty good. I even looked good. Well, somewhat good. Like, you know, I did the little ooh la la stuff, right? You know, it's like, you know, my self-esteem was a little higher than it normally would be, I guess you could say. I went downstairs to tell my son that now that, you know, I've dealt with the court, I've got a 3-week window where for the next couple of weeks, at some point after the next week, I got 1 week to play catch up with things in terms of the stuff I have to do around the house, upstairs for the most part, laundry. I mean, obviously I cook every day. I wash dishes almost every day or do double loads the next day if I don't wash. Just whatever, right? I look after my other grandchildren for Tisha. I've been doing that fairly regularly for the last 3-4 weeks. And, but I said, okay, you know, like, when do you want to start working on, I thought we had a plan. I told him the plan that would work best in terms of that transitional stage, in terms of moving things out and around. I want to have a yard sale, at least a few of them, before I just take things and drop them off at Value Village, because that's what he wants me to do, people. He wants me to take a truck or something and just clear out half the basement for him. To take my life and just give it away. And if I don't, then I don't love him. I don't value my son. I value my things more than I do my son. He tried that one on me. Anyway, it was determined that I remembered that if it came to that, because he hadn't pressured me, because he said, oh, don't worry, just work on your paperwork. And then all of a sudden, I get the paperwork done. I go downstairs. I tell him, next thing you know, he's upstairs, and he's ragging on me that he wants me to clear everything out. So whatever goodness I was feeling went to the bottom of the fucking pit of hell, basically. And it just stayed there all night. And I've been kind of brooding. But he wants to sell my car, because I told him, like, you know, whatever, right? I told him I'd find the keys, which I did. So I went downstairs to go tell him I found the keys. So, you know, just help me open the trunk, because I don't know what's inside the trunk. It's been sitting out there for so long. Before, you know, right? And I'm looking in the basement, and I'm like, okay, well, just one more time. Tell me exactly what it is that you want me to chuck out. I didn't say chuck out, but remove, right? Remove it. I said, well, not the piano, right? Oh, yeah, the piano. I'm like, no. I told you, if that comes to that, if that's what you want, then we have to take out that rack. It's a rack that I put fabric on, which has fabric on it, which some of that fabric I could actually use for boxing shorts. Perfect for Andre, would be perfect for Amari, right? Why buy it at 3 times the cost when I already have it? It's brand new. It came off a freaking bolt, right? I just haven't had a chance to sew on it because I've been working in the yard for 12 freaking years, trying to hold down a fort that obviously my son doesn't respect, because if he respected it, he'd help me more, and he doesn't. And I reminded him of that in terms of, you don't even help with the grass. So don't think you can boss me around in my house when I'm the one that freaking rented it, and you moved in with me, and you're my son, and I'm your mother. Oh my God, people. Oh my God, people. Oh my God, people. And I said, no, we'll move the piano where the fabric rack is, and I'll put the fabric rack in the storage room, and that fabric rack will be a place for me to start going through my bins so I can sort out fabrics into their specific fabric type. And then I can decide from there with Tisha, I guess, whether we're going to keep it and try and sell it and make something that, or make something where she can sell it on her online store, like little bikini bathing suits, just little things like that, right? Or whatever it may be, or whether we're going to sell it. And then I just happened to mention that I want to move that mattress that was in Tisha's room because I paid for it. It was actually Sierra's mattress that I bought brand new a month before she was illegally kicked out of her freaking room and sent out into the streets to become a freaking addict. Right? Or is that Tisha's mattress? That one's Tisha's mattress. I must have gave the other mattress away. I know we gave away a mattress. A couple of mattresses already. Anyway, I can't afford to lose a mattress. I paid for that mattress. Whether it was Tisha's mattress or Sierra's mattress, it doesn't matter. I paid for it. And I want to bring it upstairs and put it on the bed that's in my room, which is a double bunk with a double mattress on the bottom with a single on top. But I can't do that until I move the fabric that's on my bed. And that's what I told my son. And then he just went off on some tangent saying that I wasn't going to do anything until I moved the fabric off my bed. And I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, when you sell the car, I'll get a storage room. I asked you if you'd help me to clear out whatever it is down here that you don't want me to have, right? And that if you don't want the piano where it is, I'll move it where the rack is, and problem solved. And he just rude and more ignorant with me, people. Seriously. And then when I asked him if he was going to help to do all that with me, because I'm not a magician, I can't just blink my eyes and it's done in a fucking minute, right? Considering what I do in a damn day, or what I'm up against when I'm called on duty to provide paperwork so that I don't look frivolous and scandalous and a waste of the court's time. And you're telling me that it doesn't benefit him if he helps me because he's losing money. Time is money. I don't like it when he talks to me like that. He says he's going to help me move this if I have time. You know, my time is worth money. You know, my time is, you know, it's related to money, right? I said, what kind of son are you? You want me to just throw it, and then he wonders why I don't want to live when that shit happens. Like, what the fuck? Right? I told him I'm not living with him if I go blind. I don't care. And he can forget about being responsible for Amari in any kind of capacity, being that he's such a grump. Yep. And self-centered with that me gaslighting shit. And then he accuses me. Well, that's what you're doing to me. You're gaslighting me. And I'm like, whatever. Let me go into your fucking room and just start telling you to throw out half your shit. Because I said so. And the thing is, even if I do what I do, people, it's not going to make much of a difference. It might be a honeymoon period for a little while, but the reality of life will kick in. It'll go right back to the same old shit in terms of bad attitude. Because it's never enough, right? Only in the perfect world is it enough, and there is no perfect world. And I'm trying not to get resentful over this girl, and I haven't been, and I've been very supportive of this relationship, but, you know, bringing in a Joan Duncan, you know, I'm not even, no, like, it's like, whatever. Like, I'm not saying she's Joan, but just, you know, dragging me into the middle of something I don't even want to fucking be in, and I shouldn't have to be in because my son should just automatically be respectful towards me for as hard as I work and for everything that I've sacrificed over the years. He's lucky that he even has a fucking mom that holds down the fort so that he can boss her around. Like, seriously, man. Seriously. And if he wants to be a fool, I'm going to leave it on this note, because some sons are just down and out fucking fools. I already got one. Brooks. Brooks is a fool. Okay? And it looks like Mark Kane's going down that fucking path too. Because when I die, if he wants to be a fool and just drop everything off at fucking Value Village because he can't fucking cope with the fucking reality, and then 10 years will go by and he'll wish the hell that he didn't do it. And that's what fools do. Yep. He'd be, damn, I need that now. Mom had it. And she had everything that I need now, and I have nothing now. Now I have nothing. Because haste makes waste. Right. So when I move from this house, I don't know. Because Tisha doesn't want to look after me any more than she really wants to look after Amari. Right? And I'm sure in the hell not going to have my son look after me. And he's not capable of looking after Amari on his own, that's for sure. Nope. Nope. So anyway, I couldn't move any faster than what I'm moving. That's all I'm saying. Right. You know, I got plants that need to go into the ground. Nobody's helping me to plant them. Really, I don't get any help with Amari. I really don't. I really don't. Nope. Tisha's too busy with her kids and Alex's dad. And when she's here with her kids, obviously the toys pile up and get scattered around. More crumbs, more dishes. But outside of that, no. Tisha helps me with taking Amari to appointments. Now that's good. But when it comes to the daily grind, no. No. So anyway, no regrets. I'm glad I did the court stuff. I'm paying a big price for it right now. I'm being mistreated by my own son because I'm not accommodating his girlfriend fast enough, basically. Well, Tisha's jumping on the bandwagon of sticking up for her brother, saying, well, gee, Mom, you know, you shouldn't have all that stuff down. Well, yeah, but maybe the government shouldn't be bringing in hyperinflation, inflation, lack of affordable housing, food shortages, all this other shit. Because if I died today, well, they can throw out everything that they don't want. But I highly doubt that they're going to start throwing out the fucking food. No, they'll be sitting there eating it and greasing on it. And when it runs out, they can go without. That's what can happen. They can fucking go without. For every action, there's a reaction. I'd rather have food in the house and have inconvenience around where you're going to put it, and never mind putting it away in a timely manner. If more people would help, things would get done in a more timely manner. But if you expect me to do everything by myself, like I'm some fucking superhuman magician that can just go, what is that, genie in a bottle? I'm a genie in a bottle, right? I'm supposed to just go twink, 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 twink. Magically everything's done. No, that's only in a fantasy land. So I'm really depressed, people. You don't know. You don't know. But I'm trying not to be. So I am going to finish seeing what this little video is about, and then I'm going to convert it. And then I'm going to put these on the computer, and then I'm going to convert it. And then maybe tomorrow I'll find some time to listen to Minister David Eby, the Attorney General, quote unquote, in regards to what he's got to say about the lawsuit against the pharmaceutical industry for an opiate that really, in essence, had nothing to do with Shemaine's death. No, outside of it was fentanyl, medical fentanyl, that was the catalyst to kill Shemaine. For all I know, people, she could have been sleeping. Julian came, hit her on the head. She got whatever. He grabbed her, looked her in the eyes, injected her with the cocaine and the morphine to cover up the act of murder in general. And that's why she only tested for medical fentanyl. But then she told me, like when she was sick, right, that she'd get dizzy. She said she just was sitting there and fell asleep, right? Obviously those are symptoms, but we didn't know at that time. She wasn't a fentanyl. She doesn't even know what fentanyl felt like outside of watching her sister nod off with it, right? We just thought it was a flu. People get sleepy with flus. People get dizzy with flus. People get nauseated with flus. How would we have known? We wouldn't have, and that's the point. But her organs were illegally harvested. So the murder was done with a twofold intent. Okay? A twofold intent. Amari was one reason, thinking they thought they'd get him all to themselves, as they falsely accused me of this and falsely accused me of that. And two, they were facilitating illegal organ harvesting, because I'm telling you, I seen Julian and that cop cue each other. And that's when that cop said, take Julian down the hall. I came down the hall, came back, seen them carrying Shmei out in a hammock. And I know why. As my son is, I don't know what's wrong with him, people, other than it's just been too traumatic all the way around for everybody all these years. That's that cortisol going on in the brain that's never really ever had a chance to repair itself. I believe so. Yeah. So, in the next week or two, I guess I'll be looking for a storage room and start clearing out the basement. And once I get things going like that, then I guess we'll be getting into fabric. I got some nice fabric, people. I got bolts of fabric, okay? Bolts of fabric that I should have been sewing with a long time ago. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so being that I get accused of using my son as a tool when I ask him to help me to do something, even though I don't ask him very often, okay, to help me with anything really, because I already know the fucking answer here, okay? In the meantime, people, I want to put this title to this video is When You Can't Leave Soon Enough. In terms of when you can't die soon enough. Because once you're dead, that's it. Poof, you're gone. Nothing moves except fucking you. That's it. You're gone. And all this agitation and bullcrap, it disappears. And when I'm gone, I don't care what the fuck my kids trash. As they keep what they want. Because you know something in this house they're gonna want. Like, what the fuck, man? Are they gonna throw out all this food? What do you think? If it was all the food that they had, no, they wouldn't. If they think they're going to throw it out after I'm gone, because our governments are going to look after the general population by making sure that there's going to be food in the fucking grocery stores. Sorry, boo-boo grocery stores. That is one, affordable. And two, assuming that the shelves aren't half empty. Is that when they're going to feel like fools? When they realize that they can't either, one, afford to buy it, or two, they can't fucking find it, but they threw it out in the garbage after Mom died? Because they're fools? It's bullshit, people. Total bloody bullshit. So anyway, I got 3 trays of sirloin. All that, nothing. 2 trays of hamburger that were $4 off each tray. And 3 trays of a little bit of beef. It was like $46. More than that. $56. 31 and 16. 31 and 16 is what? 31. I'm so mad I can't even think. 31 and 16. That's $47 for just the beef. Right? And then I got two chicken breasts in the fridge. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to vacuum seal it. I'm going to put them in the freezer. And I'll be done with it. Oh. I don't feel like doing much of anything anymore. I really don't. See? That's these ones that... If Shimei was here, people, it would be different. Heck, even Sierra would help me. In terms of, like, you know... If I needed her to mow the grass for me, she would. Tisha mows the grass. But... not my son. No. It's just stupid. Totally stupid. So yeah, it can't come fucking soon enough. There are days when I feel like that, where just death can't come fucking soon enough. I'm sure my landlords feel like that sometimes too, you know. Maybe the bitch will just die. And then it will be easy to get rid of everybody else. Alright. So death isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay? Not when you live a freaking tortured life. Seriously. I live a fucking tortured life, okay? I guess it's woe is me party today. Now, alright? I've been trying to have a good day, but nothing seems to be really working. Right? Just attitude. Sooner or later, your attitude is going to get you nothing. Yeah. In the end, it's going to end up being nothing. And anything that you do get, it's only going to be temporary. Yeah. So in the meantime, I have to suck it up. Okay? I have to suck it up. And this is where the government uses your weaknesses against you. Right? Until there's nothing left of you. Right? But whatever. So I'm going to do this meat. And then I met my quota. I managed to do the 12 jars. And I'm going to do the meat. And then I'll deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes. Because it's never enough. Regardless of who it is. that's in my life at the end of the frickin' day. But as soon as I'm dead, they're gonna pillage, and pillage. And what they throw out, they'll be crying 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, wishing the hell they didn't fucking throw it out. Nice to be able to ask when you need tools. Oh, I need this, I need that. Gimme. Yeah, oh, you'll get your tools. Oh, I bet you won't throw out the tools though, right? Of course not. Just using that as an example, people. As long as it's something they want, then it's great. But if they don't want it, then it becomes pointless and useless. But if Shimei was here, she'd want it. She sure in the hell wouldn't ask me to fucking chuck it out, I can tell you that right now. I'm not looking forward to anything in the near future. I'm really not. I don't give a fuck. Outside of living my last breath, fighting the good fight. How about that? I don't even know what the fight is other than I just know I have to keep fighting the good fight. Yeah. And these naysayers around me that want to freaking try and derail me, I don't care who they are. To heck with them. To heck with them. Go do their nasties. As if you're not already doing them right. Yeah, $74 for all this. There's nothing here. This is small, people. Seriously. Right? Gotta leave that out and use that on that little thing. But like this is the chicken breast. Right? You can see. And that was on sale. All that, $74, which is nothing. Right? Like it's pathetic. Doesn't matter where you go. You're getting beat down. Right? If you're not getting beat down in the grocery store, you're getting beat down in your own freaking house. But soon enough, people, soon enough, it's not going to be a problem. Soon enough. Soon enough, poof, you're gone. Nothing moves except you.